Okay, send out a new link. Let's see if this works. Because I can see myself now.
It's working. It's working me.
Okay,
It is
awesome.
working.
Like I said, one of these days I'm going to get this so this works
Did
well.
you send us another link,
I
Tim?
did, yeah. I sent out another link. Yep. Thank you guys for your patience. Okay, so um, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to talk a lot about targeting, and then we're going to got a couple other plays we want to take a look at. Um, we've had some kind of inconsistencies, especially with targeting, so we want to try to make sure that we're all on the same page. It's something that Carl and I have talked about a lot over the last couple weeks, so we want to make sure that everybody is on the right page. So let's look at the first play first. This first play. Okay, so watch the hit here. It's going to be on the quarterback. And some of the things we can tell right away is we see the defender is going to zoom up. We already know that the quarterback still is, he's definitely defenseless, right? We can see that he's in his passing posture. We can see that he's barely finishing moving his arm forward before he gets contacted. So we already know he's in the defenseless position. So we now have the possibility of two different targeting fouls, 913 and 914. And we can see here the defender clearly launches into the quarterback. We can see his feet all the way up, and he definitely goes high. Right? We can't see exactly where the force is, but we know he's definitely going high, and he's definitely leaving his feet. He's got all kinds of high risk indicators. So now we're going to get a little closer view here, and we can see right there. See the shoulder goes right into the face mask of the quarterback right there. Let's make sure we mute all our phones, please, while we're talking. And if you need to speak up, then go ahead and unmute. Thank you. You can see right there the shoulder goes right into the head and neck. So this was called on the field, but this is a good example of a play that is clear and obvious. So if this was not thrown on the field, this is a play that we would have want replay to stop and reverse and create the targeting foul. That's what we consider clear and obvious. Any questions about this play?
Tim,
Yeah.
this is Bob. I haven't got your link yet.
Okay, well, everybody else has, so just keep checking your email and make sure and just grab it because it should be there shortly. You're not on AOL, are you? All right, so let's move on to the next play. All right, so this one here is going to be hard to kind of see, but you're going to watch here. We're going to have the receiver catch, get wrapped up, still move forward, then get contacted and go to the ground. And then we're going to have a flag on the field for targeting. But one of the things we can pick up right away from the line feed here as we watch, my question to you guys, is this a defenseless player? Is this receiver here, is he defenseless? All right, someone speak up. Who thinks this is a
Well, I'm
defenseless?
assuming he's a runner if he's caught the ball and
in stepping forward. He would be a runner at that point if he's completed the catch process and turned upfield.
Okay, so you're saying he's not defenseless. You're saying he's now a runner.
Right.
Okay.
I agree.
Is there anybody that believes this is a defenseless receiver, a defenseless player? We're all in agreement that this is now a runner? Okay, good. So since he's a runner, what's the only type of foul we can have for targeting?
Crown.
Right, just crown. Crown's all we have. And one of the things the line view, yes, is a little hard to see sometimes details, but some of the things we can pick up from the defender, look what he does. He squats down, he turns, and hits like basically in the side of his body here into the receiver, right? So all we want to do now is, as they're talking about targeting, and you've already seen this play, one of the things you want to do is you want to get to your this low end zone view here. And we can see here, see there, and we can clearly see now that the receiver's got the ball tucked away, he's moving upfield, and he braces himself. And we can see that all the contact here is with the side of the defender. So this is clearly not targeting. And this was correctly replaced or reversed to not targeting. But some of the key indicators here are where the contact is and the fact that he is not defenseless anymore. So he can only get crown protection. So, any questions on that? All right. Here we're going to have a catch. And then we have a ruling of incomplete. And that's it. That's all we have. I'll show it one more time. Go a little slower. Okay, so who's this? How many people are just going to leave it alone? Who thinks it's just leave it alone? Just rule it incomplete. Go on to the next play.
Not me.
Okay. So who just said not me?
Pazinski.
Okay, so Pazinski. Why do you say not me?
Well, it looks like he's defenseless. He's trying to make a catch on the ball, and he doesn't have it. You know, he's still there, and then it looks like the team looks like he launches a little bit, goes high. But I mean, that's just my first look at it.
Okay. So this
to the you know, at least it looks high chest neck area is kind of what it looks like right now.
Okay. If I slow this down even more, we can see. Watch the receiver's head. See how it whips straight back? Remember, we've talked about this before, where if the force was in the chest, which direction would the helmet go?
Forward.
Forward, right? Go forward, then backwards, maybe. But this one just goes straight back, which means all the force was up in the head. Yes, and this is enough to be considered a launch for sure. Look, he completely leaves his feet. He's gone high. This is another example of a play, and this was correctly done in replay, where we want you to stop and put the targeting foul on. This is clear and obvious targeting. This shouldn't take us much more than 30, 40 seconds to do this. And when we talk about clear and obvious, we mean that we're looking at the play even before they get to the headset. We already confirmed it's targeting. I mean, clear as day, easy. There's no arguments from anybody. Not just well, it should have been called targeting on the field now that we've looked at it, but they didn't throw a flag. That's not the definition of what targeting is for replay, for being clear and obvious. There's actually a higher standard. And we have another example of a play where that may not be the case. So, any questions about this? Does everybody understand why this is clear and obvious targeting? Okay.
I can see why they put the flag on this one. It was his game.
Well, at least he's trying to stick up for himself. Okay. So I'm going to give you two quick looks at this one. You're going to see this look here. I want to show you real quick here. Look at number 35. He's the one who got the hit. This is why targeting is such a big deal. He's sweating, right? He's like, oh crap, I may lose this game and half of the next game. So you saw that view. I'm going to give you one more. Yeah, that's not the right one. Let's go fast forward through this. Alright. Now, so you saw the first view. And then you see this. Okay. Now, let's pretend for a moment that there was no targeting thrown on the play at all. That it was just another play, went out of bounds. Is there anybody on the call that would stop this in replay just by seeing those two angles? No? Nobody would stop this for targeting. Okay. So now that being said, anybody believe this is targeting? How many people would support this for targeting?
Probably supported it. I mean, he's a runner at that point. I mean, the view I'm seeing, I mean, it looks like there's contact to runner at that point, so you've got to have pound, you know.
Right. So let's talk.
There's no crown of the helmet involved here.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's shoulder to shoulder, no crown.
Exactly. I mean, you can see. I know it's a little hard to see, but look at where the position. I'm going to come and stop right there. You can see. You can see the receiver's. I mean, the runner's helmet, and we can see the defender's helmet, right? So, and we've already decided he's a runner. He's not defenseless. So the only thing we can do here is crown of the helmet. Well, if the defender's helmet is to the side like that, and the other thing, look at what the runner does at the end there. What does the runner do?
Puts his head down and goes after him.
Right. He's putting his head down, changing his position. The defender's trying actually to go low. Look how low he's trying to get to hit. And he can't because the runner changed his position. So now he's just trying to lead with his shoulder and his arms and knock him out of bounds. Not targeting, not trying to punish, not trying to do anything other than just knock him out of bounds. And we saw from the other view that he was not out of bounds. So he's just a regular old runner. He gets hit. This is not targeting. And this was correctly reversed in replay to not targeting. Does everybody understand why that's not targeting? Does anybody have any questions about that? No questions? All right. And we We got one more here in the targeting group here.
Tim, this is Claire. I do
Yeah.
have one quick one.
Sure, go ahead, Claire.
This goes all the way back to that. This goes all the way back to that quarterback that was hit. And, in that case, it was pretty obvious the ball was just gone and got hit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm concerned a little bit about our cameras are going to follow the ball.
Mm-hmm.
If that quarterback gets it out there a little bit farther and then get hit, we may not have a camera.
That's right. Exactly
and
right.
It's also true on some kick plays where you get somebody unloaded on who's off your screen.
Correct.
And you think in the press box, wow, but you've got no view whatsoever.
Yep. And that's just the way it is. I mean, there's just nothing we can do about that. If they don't have the video of it, there's nothing you can do about it. What will end up usually happening, though, is that it will get caught on the coach's camera. So when they go to do the evaluation for the guys on the field, it's going to get caught, and they'll learn from that. And sometimes, if it's bad enough, the conference will take a look at that and say, "No, that's glaringly bad. We're going to, take some disciplinary action for that. Either be a warning or a letter or even suspension if they think it's bad enough." But as far from replays,
I'm getting on your games, you've got an all 22 that you could pick that up right?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It really depends upon which game we have and what crew's doing it. Yeah, I mean we've had that. I've had that happen in my games where I know that there was a potential targeting, not necessarily was targeting, but a potential targeting, but wasn't anywhere on video, so just had to leave it alone. All right, so let's watch this guy. Let's watch it in real-time speed first. Okay. And let me see. I keep going from real time here. So see about how much time is going to elapse here. They're getting ready to spot the ball. Okay, they're shutting the play down. Referee's obviously talking on his O2O. Okay, now he announces it's under review. And watch, he just stays there. And he's going to come out and announce there was targeting. So replay actually shut this play down for targeting. So here's going to be a replay. Alright, so those are really the only two good looks. We looked at the ISO feeds on these and there really isn't anything good. So let's concentrate on this guy. So as the action's going to be right there actually. It's going to be on number, I think it's number 16, who comes in at the end of the play here. And watch as he comes down here. We definitely have some higher risk indicators, right? But what are some of the things that we need to think about? So first, is this a defenseless player? Who thinks this is a defenseless player?
I think he's defenseless because he's on his way to the ground and his back turned.
Okay. Anybody else think he's defenseless?
Close. Hoping not.
Yeah.
Okay. And what would make him defenseless?
He's wrapped up and going to the ground.
Okay.
Wrapped already down on the ground for. I'm not quite sure he's down at that, but he almost looks like he might be on the
tackle the runner.
Okay, so let's talk about this because this is really actually quite important. So remember, for us to have a defense, for a runner to become defenseless, he needs to be what? He needs to be, his progress needs to be stopped. He needs to be in the grasp, and it doesn't say he has to be down, but he's got to be on his way down, right? Those are the criteria. Watch what he does. He actually blows through the first guy and is powering through the second guy. He's still spinning on his way forward. His momentum's still going forward. So this defender, when he commits to go hit him, he's still up and moving forward. He's not in the grasp. His progress is not stopped. If the defender were to lose the ball right here, everybody would agree that we would have a fumble, correct? I mean, if we can't see it real well, but we can see that he's probably up if we had a different angle. But so if he's gonna lose the ball here, that means he can't be defenseless because he's still making forward progress. He's still making forward movement. So now, because of that, he's not defenseless. And this isn't somebody that's already down on the ground and then we have a late hit. This is somebody that's still going there, and this defender is already committed. So he doesn't get that defenseless protection. So the only foul we can have at this point is crown of the helmet. But look at where the helmet is on the defender. See where he is? And look at where the offensive player gets hit. And this is kind of hard to see because this video is not great. And Carl and I talked about this. And if they had thrown a flag for targeting on this play, I think we can support it. I think the video is not real clear, so I would be much more comfortable with stands because there's not great video to confirm it. But there's definitely enough high-risk indicators to not reverse it. But there's definitely not enough video here to make it. This is not clear and obvious. This is not a play that we want stopped in replay for targeting. This is not something that just bam jumps out and says, "Oh yeah, that's clear. That's definitely targeting. We're gonna throw that all day." The video is just not clear enough. Maybe if we had a much better handheld view or something where we can clearly see crown going right into the other guy's helmet, then maybe. But this is just not the play. And you can also always tell clear and obvious a little bit more also by what goes on after the play. If everybody jumps up and is ready to snap and getting ready to play, that should at least be a signal. It's not always the case, but it should be a signal that you probably didn't have clear and obvious targeting. Because if you're going to have clear and obvious targeting, somebody's probably going to get their bell rung, and they're probably going to be down for a little bit. Not necessarily enough to bring the trainers out or whatever, but you'll definitely see them stagger or get up, or something will happen. Something that generally gives replay time to look at it real quick and determine whether it's clear and obvious. And you shouldn't have to do what I just did, which was take almost 2 minutes to break down the video to try to make a determination whether it was targeting or not. If I have to do that, that's
We didn't
not...
take that long breaking down the video. We couldn't find the number of the play, and that's why it took us so long.
Okay.
We did not see the play until the play was over, and he set up. We could see 16 on his back.
So my question to you is this because you saw this live and you felt it was targeting? Or is it because
we saw it and we slowed it down, and we thought he was a defensive player because he's in the grasp of number 11 and going to the ground, and the guy hit him in the head, and we thought defenseless.
Okay. So that we just wanted to make sure that even if, let's just say even if he is considered defenseless at this point, this still is not big enough for targeting for replay to stop. This is not clear and obvious. Let's say he's even being driven back a little bit here and then he gets hit like that. That's not enough for targeting to be stopped by replay. It's just not big enough. Does everybody understand why? Anybody have any questions on that? It's really important. I mean, this is. I know it's tough because you're making decisions on the fly, and it's really, really tough. There's no like little cheat sheet you can go to and it fall into some certain set of A, B, and C. Oh yeah, A, B, C happens, and boom. Okay, great. Now we got clear and obvious. Boom, there's targeting, and we stop it. So I understand it's tough. It's a very tough call. It's a very difficult thing for replay to do. But remember that you want your targeting, if you're going to stop it, if you're going to stop a game for targeting in replay, you got to make it big. It's got to be out there, big as day. And yeah, it's probably going to be more likely on a quarterback or a receiver that hasn't caught the ball yet. You're probably going to have, I would say you're going to be, a much higher likelihood for like clear and obvious targeting on that situation as opposed to a runner. It's really hard to have clear and obvious targeting on a runner. All right, let's move on. That's all the targeting plays I have. So does anybody else have anything they want to talk about for targeting before I move on? All right, well, let's move on then. All right, we're gonna have this is a pretty interesting play, and actually I don't have the line view queued up, but we're gonna watch here. We're gonna talk about a pass here. And the interesting thing is going to be we're going to have to watch here. The problem, so this view here, we see on the line feed. The line feed actually doesn't give us very much because all we see is this, and then he goes into a kind of a crowd, and we know it's near the sideline, but we don't have any reference points. So watch here. The ball's going to come in to his hands, and someone we had a few requests for talking about control in the passing situation, especially for an upright receiver. And one of the things we look for is a difference between a guy bringing the ball into his chest or arms to control it versus a stick. Okay, a stick is where he gets it with one hand or two hands and can immediately do something with it, move it, bring it down. Sometimes he'll bring it into his chest, but he doesn't have to. But on this one, we can clearly see the ball is going to turn. See how it turns in his hands there? So that's not a stick. So now we have to figure out where the control point happens. And unfortunately, we're going to get right where we want to see it. We're going to see that this guy, the number one's helmet's going to skew the view. But one of the things we can tell here is that left foot. See the left foot? We know that if he's going to control it, it's going to be at the time where his left foot is down, not his right foot down. And we know for sure he's got control of it before that right foot hits down right there. Can you see that? See what he's doing with the football? He's got it up on his shoulder, and he pulls it away with his left hand. So we know control happens there. So now we want to go see a different view. We want to see if we can see from the other side. And the other thing we can see also on this is how quickly this play developed. So we have from the point at which they made a decision, see how everybody's rushing to the line? So this was a good job on a play on the sideline like that, big play, and getting it shut down quickly. So now we go to the high end zone. And remember how we couldn't see the left, we couldn't see the ball there? Or that means, sorry, the left foot there. Now we can see the left foot. Now we know that he's got it down, and we know that he controls it there before his right foot comes down there. So he's definitely upright with control, foot down, catch. Any questions on that? let's move on to the next play. Okay, so the ruling on the field is a catch on this play. And they're going to have some discussion about it, and we're going to get a review, a replay that comes up pretty quickly. And watch what happens here. Does anybody notice, see what happened to the ball?
Kind of looked like he was juggling.
Yeah. If you can mute your line, mute your phone unless you want to talk, that's fine. But you can mute it otherwise. Picking up a lot of background noise. So the other thing I wanted to show, if I can get it to stop here, what down does the stake say?
Second.
Second, right?
Second down.
What down does the line feed down at the bottom say?
Third. Looks like.
Yeah. Okay, it says 3rd and 17. Look at where they're snapping the ball from. You can see that we're about there. We can't tell exactly, but it's just short of that big line, right? Well, and you can see where the stake is. There's no way this is 3rd and 17. Watch what happens. See how it says 2D right there? Now it switches to 3D. So you just have to be careful with the indicators on the line down underneath. It's not always accurate. So can sometimes be used as a reference, but not always accurate. So now that we know this is 2nd down, and this is going to be about a what? 4-yard pass, maybe? And we're here, 4th quarter, but 14:53 left in the game. It's 17-7, so it's competitive. But is this a play we want to stop? If he marks it a completed catch or doesn't mark it incomplete, is this competitive effect enough to stop? Who says it is? How many people say it's definitely competitive effect enough to stop? I mean, he's well behind the stakes, right? He hasn't even gotten to the... He's barely gotten to the... On 2nd down, is this one we want to stop?
So Tim, when does it when you have a catch and 2nd down? I can understand 2nd down if you're going to the if you're going to the line of the game, but when does a no catch come into play in competitive effect?
So again, unfortunately there's no cheat sheet for this, but if you generally think about it, it's generally definitely line to gain, a play of 10 yards or more. But the other thing is, this is on the A side of the field, and it does make a difference between the A side and the B side. It makes a difference between whether you're down close to the goal or whether you're back in your own territory. This is A side. It's 2nd down. Maybe 17's right because it looks like they are behind the stakes. But yeah, I mean, a 6-7 yard catch here doesn't matter. That is definitely not big enough for replay to get involved in. So whether they rule this catch or whether they rule it incomplete for replay, we may make a note of it. And this may be one you want to put in as a comment and say, this was ruled complete. It's obvious incomplete because the ball goes out. The player did not control the ball out of bounds. But but we didn't stop it because there's no competitive effect. All right. Now, that being said, now let's just analyze it from a purely replay standpoint. So we watch the ball as it comes in. We're going to see him. He's going to try to turn around. And then we see the ball come out, right? One of the first things we see, though, is right as that ball comes in, look what the defender does. He's contacted by the defender almost immediately, right? So that means he's got to demonstrate control through that contact. He's got to demonstrate clear and obvious control and do something with the football. And we see it squirt right there. We can see the ball. He's got it up high. Now it's down low. Now it pops up again. Now it comes through. And then it's out. So there's no point here where he demonstrated clear control and was able to make any kind of football act with the football. So this is an incomplete pass. He's an upright receiver, but he's also an upright receiver with contact. So he's got to survive the contact, at least for the control part of it, in order to make this a catch.
So, Tim, would you say that if this was in the middle of the field, you rule catch fumble? Would that be something you'd think about?
No, absolutely not. This is incomplete. This definitely would never be.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
If it was in the middle of the field, guys would be waving that off as a complete pass. They wouldn't rule catch fumble.
Sometimes that you'd think that, but sometimes they do rule these catch fumbles, and so we have to be very careful about that. And if we had a clear recovery in the middle of the field, and they ruled it a catch fumble, well, we definitely want to stop this and reverse to incomplete pass. But if it was kind of in between, we might stop it if we had a clear recovery element. But this should be something, especially if you get a view like this right away, that you should be able to confirm without stopping. Any questions on that? All right. 2 more plays. This one's kind of funky because they had some problems at North Dakota with the encoding.
Tim, on that play, when you said that you would stop it if it was a clear recovery, you still going to stop it if the offense recovers it?
No, if the offense recovers it, no, I'm not going to mess with it.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to have a catch here in the corner of the end zone. It's going to go down and then show the ball up here. The ruling on the field is a touchdown. So now we get a really good look here. We're going to see him go up. Now, let's talk about upright versus a receiver going to the ground, okay? Because we're going to see the ball here. See the ball hit the ground like that and move. And then he's going to show it up. We're going to have another look here. Okay, so who thinks this is a receiver going to the ground? Who wants to speak up and thinks this is a receiver going to the ground?
I do.
You do. You think this is a receiver going to the ground. Okay, why? Why do you think he's a receiver going to the ground? What element's pushing him to the ground?
Contact by the defender and just the whole process of completing the catch.
Okay. Anybody else?
Ditto.
Ditto? Okay.
Agreed.
And who thinks this is an upright receiver?
I do.
Okay. Is that Jim?
Ed.
Ed. Okay, Ed. Why do you think this is an upright receiver?
I think that he stays on his feet as the defender doesn't knock down with the second action.
Okay. So you think there's a second action here that actually puts him to the ground, okay? Anybody else? All right.
I would agree with.
All right. Ed gets the gold star tonight. So let's go back and look at, I think it's not this one. Let's go look. I think it's the reverse end zone view, not that one. This one. Okay. So watch what happens. Watch the defender, and it kind of jumps here for a second, but watch what the defender does. His first part. So we have the receiver that's going up. He goes up, and he comes down, and the contact by the defender is not to the body initially of the receiver. He's actually trying to push the ball, right? And watch what the receiver does. He gets his foot down here, and then look what he does. He pulls the ball away with one hand away from the defender, completely away. See how the hand separates there? Then the defender pushes him down. See how the contact now is on the leg, and that's going to drive the receiver to the ground. That's the second act. The process of the catch has already been completed when he goes up, is able to grab it there, right? And he comes down, and now what is he doing? He's doing an act common to the game. He is moving the football away with control, away from the defender. Then the defender contacts his leg and takes him to the ground, but the catch process is already finished. So he is an upright receiver. Does everybody understand
So
that?
Tim, at the 50-yard line, if this receiver goes to the ground, fumbles the ball, and it's recovered by the defense, you want a completed pass catch fumble?
Mm-hmm. It depends on other things. Like, I mean, obviously his knee comes down here before the ball actually comes to the ground. But yeah, if let's say he's in the middle of the field here, and he's reaching out for that first down marker, and then that defender now swipes that ball away, that would be a fumble. And whoever recovers it will give the ball to them. Because he was able to do the things necessary, which was he's able to get a foot down in the end zone with possession and control, and demonstrated an act common to the game. Does that make sense to everybody now? Anybody have any more questions about this? All right, so just make sure that's you want to figure out. Sometimes we just kind of jump to the conclusion that the defender contacts him and takes him to the ground. So we just want to make sure we watch the whole play and determine, no, that's not what happens. It doesn't happen till then. So, all right. And the final play of the night. All right, so
10 on third downs in the game. Under 10 minutes to go, third quarter. The Vikes jump offside, and with a free play will throw it upfield, and the ball is caught by Mitch Guller, and he was out of bounds.
all right, so the ruling on the field is incomplete pass. So we know it's to the sideline, but the line feed doesn't give us very much help here. We're going to see this view here, which is from behind the quarterback. And you can see him up in the upper right-hand corner there. Not a lot that can help us there. So we're going to go to the one camera at Idaho State that is usually the most worthless camera in the stadium, and for the one time, it actually is going to help us. We're going to watch here. So watch here watch the receiver. He's going to go up. Now here is a good example of a receiver going to the ground, right? Because It's his momentum that's going to take him here to the ground. So he's going to have to survive the ground, which he does with the ball. So now we just have to figure out, does he have control here? And is that foot inbounds or not? And we talk a lot about toe heel or heel toe, but what does this receiver do?
It's not a natural act. He cuts with his toe and then he pushes off.
Exactly. He never lets that heel come down. He just pushes the toe down. And can even though this video is a little blurry and a little bit of ways, can we see that strip of green there?
Yep, looks good.
Yeah. And we know that he doesn't put his heel down, so that's a catch. Any questions on that?
Nope.
All right. So I put this on here just to demonstrate the fact that normally sometimes we get set up and we think of views not usually giving us a very good look, but this time this camera actually did help us, so don't just automatically forget about it. And don't forget about what else on this play.
Maintaining the ball catch process.
And there's one other thing. Watch the line judge. What do we got there?
DOF.
Yeah, exactly. We got defensive offsides. So that's really critical, especially you communicators. You got to know that there was a penalty there, because what happens with that penalty?
Gives us time.
Exactly, it gives us time. So you need to make sure that you're communicating to your replay official. Hey, we had a penalty for defensive offside. Looks like they're going to mark it off. You got a little bit of time to review this and decide if we need to stop it or not. And hopefully by that point you'll be able to decide that we got to stop it. All right, any questions about that? Nope. All right. All right, that's all the plays I got for you guys. Just wanted to reiterate that we really appreciate all the hard work you guys have done. You guys have had a really good season. We're coming down to the final few games here, and they're all going to be obviously big. They're all conference games. Seasons are going to be decided here shortly, so keep at it. Keep working hard. Really get in your mind on targeting. That if you're going to stop the game for targeting and throw and decide to create a targeting penalty, make sure it's big. Make sure it's clear. That definition of clear and obvious is huge. And the other thing is, if we do have a targeting play thrown on the field, let's make sure that we have the elements there for targeting. Make sure that they're definitely there, and that we're not getting too ticky-tack. We have had a couple plays recently where they were technically targeting, so they were supportable, but let's make sure if we're going to take a student athlete out of the game, that it's big, that we care. Not to say that doesn't happen. We've had quite a few targetings this season that were absolutely there, but just keep working hard on that. Keep analyzing it. One of the things we talked about, Carl and I talked about, is if we're going to have targeting, whether it's thrown on the field or called by replay, we want the referee to go to the headset every time. We don't want that done in the field, in the middle of the field with the 0-2-0. Does anybody have any questions about that? So make sure that's part of your pregame. Make sure that you guys talk about that with the referees. That anytime we have targeting, it's always going to go to the headset. All right, guys, that's all I got. Does anybody else have any questions or anything they want to bring up?
No, thanks, Tim.
Okay. I have made a recording of this, so I will make that available as well to those who may have missed it or were late, or if they had any other questions, and you can review it back. But other than that, thanks a lot, guys. I know we went a little long, so I appreciate your patience, and have a good week.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Good luck, everybody.